Hello and welcome to this episode of Kennedy Saves the World. So, Disneyland has been in the news this week because Vice President J.D. Vance and his family went to the Magic Kingdom in Southern California. In Anaheim, what? Hey, no doubt. And of course, California Governor Gavin Newsom was trolling Vance and his family, like, hope you have fun at Disneyland. You know, the families who were torn apart by the ice raids, they weren't having any fun. And it's like, oh, did you want to send the kids who are trafficked to work in pot farms to Disneyland by themselves so they could be preyed upon? You weirdo. It's very, very difficult to enjoy Disneyland as a family because it's so insanely expensive. I took my daughter and her best friend to California Adventure, which, shares the same campus or footprint as Disneyland. And it's, just a different kind of vibe. Still super fun. We have our favorites there as a family. And it was like for three of us, it was like $600. And we got there and the woman's like, did you make a reservation? I'm like, no. So apparently that was something you had to do at the park post-COVID, was make a reservation. I did not know this, but luckily enough, because I have a California driver's license, she was like, okay, you're a resident. It's fine. You didn't know. So my daughter and her friend and I all got in, and I spent a day at Disney by myself while they went off and cavorted like teenagers, which is exactly what they should be doing. And they had a great time. And I just went in search of a margarita, which is easier to find at California Adventure than it is at Disneyland itself. But, obviously you can fill up a water bottle with any clear spirit you want and have a fine time there with your frozen lemonade. But I've always thought it was weird for people who go to Disneyland as adults. I mean, that in and of itself is weird. And if you're one of those people who like to go to Disney, I don't care. Like maybe you had a traumatic childhood. Maybe you had like the best childhood ever, and your very best memories from your time growing up was going and putting on your little Minnie Mouse ears and just having a blast with your family, and you just want to relive that because you had so much fun. I mean, that's how I feel whenever I ride my bike with my friends. I feel like I'm in a BMX gang, which is what I always wanted when I was a kid, and the closest I got was trailing behind my brothers by a few hundred yards while they tried to lose me in our hilly neighborhood. So if that's what you're reliving, that's great. But still, when you go to Disneyland with kids, number one, it's exhausting. Number two, it's expensive. And number three, it's so weird seeing adults there without children. And, it's like if it makes you have a great time, as long as you're not cutting me off in line, I really don't care. One time, I will tell you this as an aside, and this was very strange. We were in Orlando for a gymnastics meet, and this was probably 8 or 9 years ago. And one of the gymnastics dads had a foot injury and had a medical note, and somehow was able to take 15 of us and cut the lines on every ride. And we went right to the front of the line because he had like plantar fasciitis. Now that seemed wrong. That seemed like something where every single person there should have paid an extra $1,000. And I felt really bad about it. Did I feel bad enough that I waited in line for 3 hours with my children? No, I went ahead and cut right to the front of the line. But again, we were with children. So I remember the first time I went to Disneyland as an adult at 22, because I hadn't been since I was 5. And I was like, oh, this is fun and kind of novel and something I will never do again as an adult. And I remember seeing all the people without kids in their costumes and their ears, having had their hair braided, having been to the princess salon and getting their makeup done by Tiana or Merida, or, God knows whatever other Disney princess was available to, work in the makeshift Sephora that day. And I just remember thinking, like, this is so strange. It was almost like going into a fetish community, like a group of people who just exist in this subculture where they're only comfortable acting like children around other adults, acting like children, demanding the same amount of attention from people dressed up as Disney characters as little tiny kids. And, they're happy to push people out of the way so they can get autographs first from Chip and Dale.
Don't go anywhere. More Kennedy Saves the World right after this.
Well, now there is a dating app for Disney adult weirdos so they can go and enjoy the park and not be the only ones in mouse ears without kids. Ugh. And if people do actually pair up on this app, I do think it should come with the sterilization kit. I don't know that you should be contributing to the gene pool if you get off being around little kids at a very expensive theme park. It's strange. It is strange. And if you find someone else that you want to do that with, another fetishist, and that makes you happy, that's great. And, I celebrate your First Amendment right to not be censored by the government for being a little bit off. But you also have to grant me that we all make judgments in life. And it didn't occur to me how weird the Disney adults were until I had kids. Because when I was an adult, the one time I went there and I was like, oh, these people are dressed like children. Oh, that's a little weird. It's like I remember seeing a group of adults all dressed in animal onesies, like the kind you get from Amazon at Halloween when you're being just a little bit lazy, like a zip-up monkey or a zip-up ladybug, two things that I actually have when I went trick-or-treating with my children. So it was like that, seeing people in this weird fetishist costume. And I was like, oh, that's a little odd, but, high fives all around. When I went with children, then it seemed like creepy. It really did, especially the men. So when you see men walking around Disney by themselves without kids, there's an alarm system internally that was activated when I had children. And, it's like my initial instinct was to gather them and keep them away from the guy dressed as Goofy, not the guy employed by the park, making a decent living, maybe just above minimum wage, but probably with some pretty good benefits. But, dudes just there by themselves. So this Disney single riders dating app has been overrun by women. It's mostly women on there like, I just wanted to look for love in all these places where it should be for children. And they're not finding a lot of dudes, probably because dudes who go to Disney by themselves and dress up in celebratory regalia, they're probably not looking for a female companion, certainly not an adult one. And it's not every single guy, but I bet mathematically, if you gave him a little truth serum and a lie detector test, I don't think the results would be quite as wholesome as you would hope. So for all those single riders out there, I do hope you pair up and maybe don't have kids. Because if you're going to act like kids, you might not be ready to raise them. This has been Kennedy Saves the World. Have fun out there. Just not too much fun where it's creepy. I'm Kennedy.
Listen ad-free with the Fox News Podcast Plus subscription on Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Prime members can listen to this show ad-free on the Amazon Music app.
Oh, go ahead and leave me a review while you're there. I'd love to hear what you have to say. You've been listening to Kennedy Saves the World on the Fox News Podcast Network.